Hello everyone. I am here today with a video for continuing the distributive property. Yesterday we did a little introduction in which you learn a little bit about the distributive property with both positive and some negative numbers. So now we're going to add in to these expressions some variables, and I'll show you how that works in a second. But if you remember, our distributive property is another way of solving problems like the one below. Yes, we know, and we've been taught forever, that we can, parentheses come first, we do the inside, and we would get 9 times 5. But the distributive property says that yes, this works, but there's another way to solve this and get the same answer, right? It says that we can take what's on the outside of the parenthesis and multiply by everything on the inside. So 5 times 3 is 15, right? And then we take the 5 times the 6, which is 30, and it wants us to add them together, and we get 45. So you are distributing, handing out, or giving this 5 to everything on the inside of the parentheses. Okay? If this was negatives, we did this the exact same way. So let me just change this for a quick second. Let's make this 5 on the outside a negative. So it's a negative 5, right? So negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. Negative 5 times 6 would be negative 30. Right? And we want to add them together. So we would get a negative 45. So don't let the negative throw you. You know your rules, what to do when it is multiplication versus when you're adding them together. You know the difference here. Okay, so let's add in some variables now. You'll see it's pretty similar. Okay. Now, one of the reasons we have to use the distributive property here is because normally we would add what's inside of the parentheses together, but we can't do that because we don't have like terms. So here's where the distributive property becomes helpful. So if I take 4 times what is on the inside, 4 times 3 is 12, right? And I'm just going to bring my x along. 4 times 5, just like before, gives me 20. And I'm going to bring my addition sign down. So I've expanded. Now we need to look. Can we simplify? Is there anything that we can combine? And in this problem, we can't. So there is no simplifying. All we can do here is expand. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, let's start by expanding. So if I take the 4 on the outside times the 3, I get 12. Bring the x along. If we take 4 times 2, we get 8. There's a subtraction sign in between. So I've expanded everything. But look at where my parentheses started and where it stops. It ends here. So the 4 is only multiplied by the stuff inside. Okay? Yes, I have this minus 20x at the end, but it's not inside the parentheses. So do not multiply it by 4. What we do with this is we just bring it along. So we're just going to rewrite minus 20x. Okay? And now we need to solve. We're looking to simplify. So, okay, I can combine my x's, right? Here's an x. And here's an x. So 12x, or just 12 if it helps, minus 20 is your problem. So if you do leave change opposite, you get a negative 8x. And this one does not have anything to combine with. So just like we did before, we're just going to bring it down and rewrite it. And that is all we can do. Negative 8 8x minus 8 would be our answer. Okay, let's look at another one here. So, first thing I would look at is where your parenthesis starts and stops, right? I see it starting here and stopping here. So that means I'm only taking the 2 times the things inside, not what's at the end of the problem. It's not in the parenthesis, okay? So 2 times 5 would be 10, and 2 times 3 is 6a, right? You get 6 and you bring the a down. And again, there's a subtraction sign in there. Okay, so that's what I get from the parentheses. Now, I am going to rewrite everything that's behind it. So the plus 2a, and then the minus 18. Okay, and now it just becomes a combining like terms problem. That's all. So let's find our like terms. Well, here's my constant of 10, and here's a constant, again, you're including the sign to the left, of negative 18. So minus 18. So 10 minus 18, subtraction problem, leave change opposite, you would get negative 8. And then if we do the a's, so I have a minus or a negative 6a plus 2a. So think of that, minus 6 plus 2. So that would be, what, minus 4. And bring down your a. That is all I can do. There is nothing else to combine. So this would be your simplified answer. All right, here's another one for us. So again, look at where your parenthesis starts and where it stops, right? It starts here, it ends here. So I'm just multiplying the 6 by these items. Now, 6 times this negative b. Please remember, if there's no number there, right, it's like there's a 1 there. So this is like 6 times negative 1b. Well, 6 times negative 1 would be negative 6, right? I'm going to bring the b down. You're multiplying by a negative 1 here. 6 times 3 would be 18. And there's a plus sign in between, or we're adding. And there's where my parenthesis ends. So I'm not multiplying by 6 anymore. Let's just bring the rest down. Minus 9b and plus a negative 10. Okay, there's our problem. So now let's find our like terms. So I see a b, so I'm going to mark this one, and I see a negative or a minus 9b. So let's combine those. So it says negative 6 minus 9. So leave change opposite. I will end up with negative 15, and you have a b. Okay, and if I keep going here, my constants, this one says plus 18 and plus a negative 10. So 18 is, and then plus negative 10 here. So when we solve that, 2 different signs, subtract, take the sign of the larger number, you will get a positive 8. Okay, and again, there's nothing more to combine. We've done everything we can do right now. Okay, let's look at one more. All right, let's look at this last problem. So this one, if we look, has 3 numbers inside the parentheses. There's where it starts and stops. Now, I do want to mention to you that on occasion, you may see a problem that has the 4 behind the parentheses. If you just look, I moved it. Don't panic. It means the same thing. You're still going to take the 4 times the first number, times the second, and times the third. There are occasions that they, for whatever reason, put the number behind. Okay? But the 4 still means the same thing here. I can get my 4 to move. Okay. So, let's do like we did before. We're going to take 4 times everything on the inside. Okay, so 4 times negative 2 would be negative 8. 4 times this 3 would be 12e. I'm going to bring my subtraction sign along. 4 times 5 is 20. Bring the addition sign along. Okay, and my parenthesis ends there, so I'm not multiplying by 4 anymore. So I'm just going to bring this plus 9e down. Okay, so I've expanded everything, or distributed the 4 and brought the 9e down. Now we are ready to combine. Well, find our like terms, I guess I should say, before we combine. So let's find all the constants since that's first. So I see a negative 8 here, and I see a plus 20 here. Right? So my problem is negative 8 and plus 20. So that should be, what, a positive 12. Okay, let's move to the e's. So I see a negative 12e. I'll put it over here. Negative 12. And I see a plus 9e. So plus 9. So when I do that, I would get a negative 3. And I'm going to bring my e along. All right. So that is as simplified as we can go. All right, so let's sort of wrap things up here today. So the only difference is that we added the variable in today. And when you multiply by the variable, you still just multiply the digits together. So 4 times 3, bring the letter along with you. Okay, so we need to expand first. Find where your parentheses stops and starts. Expand. If there is any other terms, bring them down, and then you will combine. Okay, so you do have a practice to do here today. Work on that on Schoology, get that done, and message me if you have any questions. All right, guys, have a great day, and I will see you shortly.